Washington football. Woo! Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Burgundy Zone. I am your host, Kyle, and I'm joined by my co-host, Michael Hall. Reed should be here momentarily, very, very soon. Hopefully, fingers crossed. You never know with that guy. But the Burgundy Zone is a part of the Frederick Podcast Network. You can find out more by going to www.listenfrederick.com. Thank you for watching the Burgundy Zone, everybody. It is a kind of a somber, depressing kind of Monday. The Washington falling to 3-5, 0-3 in the division to the Philadelphia Eagles. They lost 38-31 in a game that they were up. The game was tied 17-17 heading into the fourth quarter, and then the interception gets thrown with 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and they get separated from there on out. But the team kept fighting. But there's a lot of questions revolving around this football team. And so, Hall, first thing we want to get to before we are joined by our guest on the line and our co-host here, I want to kind of get your immediate reaction from yesterday. What was the play you would say was the difference in the game?
Yeah, I guess it would probably have to be. I mean, it's kind of easy and cherry picking, but it'd have to be the interception just because it was a tight game. You're on your side of the field. You give up the interception and you give the Eagles, which is obviously a high-powered offense. The defense hasn't been able to stop a nosebleed up to that point. And you give the Eagles a short field, and then obviously they put points on the board. They go up. Now, again, the offense, they came down the field. They fought back. They got back in the game. But I do think that that was the turning point, a little bit of the momentum. I think we had the momentum as far as like it was a home game, even though there was a lot of Eagles fans there. But I feel like just kind of like the first game up in Philly, we had the momentum, and it just took that one play to kind of swing it back towards them, get the Eagles fans that could travel down I-95 into the game a little bit more than what they already were. And like I said, they put points on the board from that point. They scored. They went up, and I think that was the momentum swing that changed it for the Eagles.
And for me personally, I think the biggest difference in that game was the fact that was the botched interception. Was the fact that not the botched interception. I'm sorry, that's the wrong way of saying it. Basically, the huge play given up to Devontae Smith, the miscommunication, because that is something that has plagued this football team for many, many times over the past couple years. They usually fix it by week 4 or 5, but it's reared its ugly head. We are now joined by our guest, Mr. Felix Trammell. Thank you for joining us, sir. I know you're walking between classrooms right now, doing your thing. I really do appreciate you for joining us, Felix. How are you doing?
I'm good, brother. How you doing?
It could be better, Felix. It could be better.
Oh, trust me, I understand completely.
So, what we were just talking about and discussing, what was the play that kind of was the difference in the game? Because I talked about in the intro, the game was 17-17 heading into that fourth quarter. What was the play that really separated everything?
Absolutely. Well, I think it's two plays. I think the first play is still the Devontae Smith fourth down miscue. Because if you correctly challenge that play, if you get that call and you get the ball in midfield with a chance to score 3 scores, and the next thing you know, the Eagles score a touchdown. That changed the game. I'm sorry. Like, if you go into the half 17-21-3, that's a whole different ball game. Now the Eagles have to really go into panic mode. The Eagles, once that happened and they scored, they never went into panic mode. They were almost like, I said this earlier, because it's Halloween. You know Mike Myers? Mike Myers never runs after anybody, but he always chases them down. That's how the Eagles almost presented themselves. They were just, it's all right. We'll figure it out. We'll get it right. Next thing you know, they're doing touchdown, and they're rolling, and then Washington's wheeling back. So to me, that was the play. The second play would have been the fourth down to Terry McLaurin, that play, because Washington was correct on the sense of urgency. I just don't quite agree with the play call. I know what the play call was, but it was a mandated one read to Terry.
Yep.
When if you actually scan that play, Samuels breaks free for a touchdown. Logan comes clear underneath for a first down. So there's two opportunities to convert in that play before you even would get to Terry's side. So those are my two plays.
Yeah, and on top of that, Felix, the interception that Sam Howell threw, to your point, on that 1 4th down where it seemed like a one-read sort of play, on that interception, there's two underneath defenders underneath of Terry when Sam overthrows that. Where, to your point, where it's almost like he's looking left but not looking right and being patient with his reads.
And it's hard to beat Sam up because when I went back and looked at the film, he played an amazing game.
He did.
He moved his feet. The ball was coming out on time. Even that throw to Crowder at the end, that was one of the best throws I've seen in a while. That's a hell of a throw. So it's hard to knick-knack, but you're going to knick-knack when you're playing a game that ends up you lose by 7 points. You're going to end up knick-knacking because those 1 or 2 plays matter. That interception gives the Eagles the ball at the red zone, a phantom personal foul call. Next thing you know, they're at the 7. The defense, I mean, you can't expect the defense to bail you out from there. And even though the defense didn't play well, you can't expect them to bail you out from the 7. So it's those little things. Like, I know you didn't want to get sacked, and you did a great job not getting sacked. Throw that ball away because that Eagles had the right coverage for that play, and there was nothing good going to happen on that throw to Terry.
Yeah, if you go back a couple weeks to the game up in Philly, it seemed like they Eric Bieniemy called a pretty balanced game as far as the run game, and like I wouldn't say that it was balanced this game, but it was balanced in the fact of they were using the quick game, they were using screens, and they were calling the runs at the right times, like as opposed to like just running the ball just for the sake of running the ball. But it seems like these two game scripts and these two game plans against the Eagles were two of the best that EB's called all season, two of the best that Sam has played all season. And it makes you kind of wonder, like, why don't they kind of go to this and go to the quick game and do this stuff more often with the offense and more often early and often in games? And do you think that now that they've seen it work against a team like the Eagles a couple times, and do you think they're going to stick with this and kind of just kind of build off that and go forward with that?
I think it's going to be more embedded more. I think that EB's offense is a very, very bad matchup for the Eagles defense. If you think about the last 3 times the Eagles have faced EB's offense, the 2 times here and then in the Super Bowl, it was not a good matchup for them. And their best players are their interior linemen. And people have forgotten about the Larson switch and Chris Paul playing in the interior. You didn't hear Jordan Davis's name yesterday. You didn't hear Fletcher Cox's name yesterday, maybe once or twice. They neutralized their 2 best points, and you were able to attack their very weak secondary. That's why they traded for Byron. So, but I do think they're going to incorporate more of this because it helps Sam, because Sam is a rhythm guy. He's a tempo rhythm guy. He's not the slower, more methodical, your Peyton Manning types. He's not that type guy. He's kind of an up-tempo guy. When they got in the rhythm, it works well. So those screens, and those are extensions of the run game. So I know that I was upset that Brian Robinson only got 8 carries, but 6.3 yards a carry, that shows that it's there. So, I mean, you incorporate some more into that. But, I mean, you can't fault the game plan. Heck, they put up 31 points on the defending NFC champions. Twice. Like, there's nothing bad about that. I mean, you saw the Dolphins play them last week. The Dolphins couldn't do that. And their offense was all world earlier this season. So I think the Eric Bieniemy's offense is an extremely bad matchup for the Eagles defense. But if a team can't blitz, and the Eagles are not a real good blitzing team, EB's offense can work wonders on a team. So I think you're going to see that moving forward. I know the Patriots are going to blitz a little bit more, but they are really weak behind that blitz. So it'll be interesting to see how much they do it.
Yeah, I know heading into this game, Philadelphia's defense was top 10 in sacks on the year. And the offensive line, they only gave up 1 sack on the day, which was obviously crucial and backbreak at the end of that game, which nobody wants to see. But that being said, Felix, how did the offensive line look? You've already talked about Larson and Chris Paul coming in and this week on a short notice and actually did really, really well with all things considered. How did the offensive line look to you?
It looked good. I think Larson's coming back, and the Nick Gates signing was a cover for Larson. They knew Larson would be out for a while with his leg injury, and that cover didn't work. So they made that move silently, but that move is effective because what helps a young quarterback? A center who can make calls. What helps a guard playing his first game? A center who can make calls. So he helped two players with his presence. So next thing you know, you don't see a thing from Charles Leno because there's a solid guard next to him. You didn't hear anything about Tyler Lawson because there's solid guards around him. The one sack was at the end, and it comes, unfortunately, from Wiley, but Wiley played a good game. There was some good run blocking in that game. There's one play where Brian Robinson goes off the right side for about 20 yards, and Wiley and Cosme wipe Fletcher Cox out. I mean, they obliterate him. And I'm sitting there like, it's there. It's not a top line, but it's better than the product you were putting on the field. So Charles will be out for a while with the injury, but Chris Paul showed me some toughness that I didn't think he had. And he competed. And if you compete against Jordan Davis and Fletcher Cox, It's not too many people that I would be more feared in the league. So I think that's good for him. And that worked well. And EB helped him as well with the quicker throws and the offset runs and some of those heavier looking formations. So you had an Armah in the block as well. You didn't leave people on the island so much trying to block up front. And it shows that they were successful. So I think all of that went hand in hand, but that line move was underrated. It was very good.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. Sticking with the offense, as we know, Bill Belichick and his track record with young quarterbacks throughout his career, he likes to throw a lot of stuff at him, throw a lot of exotic stuff at him, try to confuse him a lot. And we've seen that with Sam Howell and this offense overall, if you go back to week one, if you just follow the trend of week one, they were all right. Week two against Denver, obviously they explode. Week three against Buffalo, they were down, and obviously like up, down, up, down, up, down. Week to week, it's up, down, up, down. So if you follow the trend, you would say that they're going to come out and have a stinker, per se, against the Patriots this week. What are you expecting with Sam Howell versus Bill Belichick and his track record with young quarterbacks with this offense this Sunday coming up?
He has it up down. I don't expect the 31. I don't. But I do expect a steadier game. I think AB has, hey, look, I know these are the plays you want to run. The plays that are going to be most successful for you. So you got to balance success against comfort level. So those plays are more comfort level. They moved the pocket a lot more yesterday. So that's something they're going to have to do against Bill Belichick because he's going to blitz. I mean, he's not going to copy the Eagles' game plan. He's going to copy the Giants' game plan as much as he can. Now, he doesn't have that line personnel that the Giants have, but he's going to try. And he's going to have to be Howell's going to have to be poised. You're going to have to run the ball more. It's going to be weather. This 80 degrees fake thing that we had here in Virginia and DMV is going away. It's going to be nice and windy in Foxborough. So you're not going to be able to throw all those routes you think you can throw. But I expect a steady performance. I do not expect this performance from yesterday with the 300-some yards. I see him more in the 200-yard range. But I don't expect the clunker like Buffalo or the Giants.
Okay, I got you. Now, Felix, to wrap this up, I only have a couple more questions for you. But my big breakaway in this game, I think was the biggest difference maker, was the miscommunication where the huge play happens to Devontae Smith. So my question to you, what is going on with his defense? I know that we talked about Howell, but I'm not going to pile on Howell too much. He had his little bit of minute mistakes, but this defense should be able to win with 31 points scored by the offense. What are you seeing? What's going on there?
The defense, the bend or don't break defense that Del Rio likes to runs into problems with offenses like the Eagles because they present so many matchup problems. Like they still, and I kind of picked Devontae Smith to have the bigger game than A.J. Brown because I would assume that Washington would overcompensate to A.J. Brown and then Devontae Smith would be open. But no, they actually still sheltered their coverage towards Smith, and that left A.J. Brown one-on-one, who's probably the hottest receiver in the league right now. I think it's just a schematic problem with the defense because on that play with Devontae Smith, it was a 3-by-1. Danny's in the slot. Fuller's on the outside. Curl comes up to cover that third guy. One of them has to go deep. And I want to say it was Danny that was supposed to go. It could have been Cam, but either one, somebody should have been like, let me just be deep. And if you have Curl stay in his normal home position, Curl would have been that guy. Because on that play, Casey Two-Hill drops off, and he's in coverage. So now you have Two-Hill, Johnson, and Curl almost guarding the same 10 yards of field, while there's Devontae Smith, Heisman Trophy winner, running up the field by himself. That's a schematic problem. Yeah. There's no need for a defensive end to drop, a safety to come down, and the nickel corner to all be guarding the same area. So they say it's communication. It is, but the system is just flawed. And a good team like the Eagles can take advantage of it. Your offense scored 31 points twice against the Eagles. If I told you that in August, both Eagles games, Sam Howell put up 31 points, you would take your chances with that.
Yeah, you would.
But the defense gave up 34 and 38. You're not going to win like that. And I think the scheme is just really outdated. And then there's a few players and personnel in the wrong spots that won't help you succeed. David Mayo, God bless him, is not a starting linebacker in the NFL. Not in 2023 NFL. If this was the 1990s, he'd probably do very well. But in 2023, he is not. And just he was never in the wrong spot, but he was always a second or two too late. Yeah. And in this league, a second or two too late is the difference between a first down and a fourth down or a touchdown and getting off the field. So to me personally, it's a schematic issue that's coming from scheme that are just getting players in bad spots. The whole fourth situation is putting a player in a bad spot and letting him fail. As a coach, your job is to not let him be in a bad spot. And I don't think the defensive staff is doing that.
I think there's a lot of people out there that would agree with you, Felix. I can't thank you enough for joining us on this very sad, depressing Monday, but I'm glad that we were able to get you on here to be able to get some of your intellect and your wisdom, sir. I appreciate you as always.
Appreciate
Felix.
It. Thank you.
Have a good one. All right, everybody, we just spoke with the man, Mr. Felix Trammell. Always appreciate speaking with Felix. As a good man right there. We are joined now by our co-host, finally, Mr. Michael Reed. How are you doing?
Spooky Reed.
Spooky Reed. We had to get extra spooky for the episode because it's All Hallows Eve and the Wolfmans and the Goblins are all outside.
Yes, and I'm so glad that you came in your costume dressed as a clown today. I really do appreciate it.
No, I'm dressed as a disappointment to my family.
Oh, that's what it is. My fault. Man, I missed it. Hey, just turn up your your microphone a little bit for me. Boys, before we are joined by our next guest, Mr. Jeff Miles, because he had some things he wanted to get off his chest. We're really happy to be able to talk with Jeff. Let's give out some game beers. I know it's going to be hard to do that in a loss, but I feel like there's a lot of people that deserve those game beers. So, Reed, who's getting your Bud Light beer of the week?
Well, I mean, obviously, there's Sam Howell. That's the easy one. But I'm going to go with somebody. I'm going to go with Jahan Dotson. It's such spooky season that the ghost of Jahan Dotson appeared before us on Sunday, and he said, "Eagles, eat my dust." And he was out there, man. He was spooky. He got the ball. He made the most of his opportunities, and shout out to his family. Jahan, you deserve a beer.
Yeah, both of my game beers are going to former guests on this show. One being Tyler Larson and coming in a relief. Felix Trammell talked about that one run play to Brian Robinson, 20-yard run. I uploaded that play on Twitter, and you can really see what Tyler Larson does on that play that kind of busted open. There's a lot of guys that do well on that play to be able to get that yardage that they were able to. The other one's Cam Curl, forcing the turnover. We know that the turnovers have been a thing on Cam's mind that he's been really wanting to get, and he got his first forced fumble of his career. Really happy for him, and it came in a crucial situation when we needed it the most. You could tell he was very animated, trying to say, it's our ball, it's all our ball. I knew that he wasn't lying to us when he put that signal up, but Cam Curl and Tyler Larson both deserve game beers. Kick your feet up, boys. You did well, but get ready for New England.
Yeah, I was going to say Jahan, and I was going to say Cam Curl. So I will say
No, you wasn't.
The entire offensive line can get a game beer. I know you said Larson, but the entire line in general, after giving up 4 or 5+ sacks a game every single game this year, to go up against a front like that and only give up 1 sack. And, I mean, yeah, like you said, it came in the most inopportune time of the game. But, I mean, You got to start somewhere. Baby steps. We're taking baby steps here. So, you guys get a game beer, kick your feet up. But, like we said, Bill Belichick likes to throw a lot of stuff at young quarterbacks. And young offenses per se. So you ain't got time. You got not a lot of time to rest, but you can kick your feet up for now.
Honorable mention: Jamison Crowder deserves a game beer. Seven
That's a good one.
receptions, 95 yards, one touchdown on 7 targets. Was obviously we've talked about the special teams ability that he brings. Nobody was really expecting a catch like he had in that end zone. What a beautiful throw by Sam Howell. An even better catch by Jamison Crowder diving for that football. Absolutely amazing. And then Terry McLaurin deserves to have a game beer. I know a lot of people are going to point to the drops, and it's all right, man. It happens. But the fact is, Terry McLaurin has done so well in the past. I think he has built up keg already waiting for him. So
Yeah,
it's okay, Terry. Take a
you
sip.
know that's not Terry. Like it sucks and it happened back to back plays and it's
Right.
like damn. But like really the offense as a whole, I mean everybody's sitting here depressed. Like look, we know the season's almost over, but that was a Super Bowl caliber team, whether you like it or not. The offense looked fantastic. The offensive line made huge improvements against the best defensive line in the NFL, and that's really all you can do. I mean, it sucks, but hey, we were in it. You know what I'm saying? We were there. So that's all you. But Logan Thomas. Logan Thomas played a hell of a game
Oh,
too,
yeah.
man. He played
Yeah.
a fantastic game.
Yeah,
So
six
shout
receptions,
out to
40.
Logan Thomas.
Yeah, 6 receptions, 44 yards, a touchdown on 8 targets. And you brought up Jahan Dotson. I forgot to plug his stats. But 8 receptions, 108 yards, one touchdown on 10 targets, and 80% completion percentage there going to Jahan. So it's huge, obviously, for him. But it sucks to what happened because, again, like this, it just seems like the same thing over and over again with going against Philly and these other kind of top tier teams where you feel comfortable and then things go out awry, you fire back, and then but you still fall short. It continues to happen over and over again. And then when you're going against those teams that don't have that same output, you're not getting anything on the offensive side. So it's the inconsistency is driving me up a freaking wall. But that being said, let's start answering some of our fan questions so we could get through this therapy of an episode because at this point 3-5, the trade deadline is tomorrow. A lot of people have questions, myself included, but let's get it going. Now, this is from the Colonel who submitted this in. Read, Scary Terry is being criticized for a couple costly drops yesterday, much like Jahan Dotson was last week for dropping that touchdown pass. Why are Sam and our two-star receivers out of sync?
I don't know. Like they were in like let's not deny like Terry played well before those drops. Terry does what Terry does, you know what I'm saying? And Jahan, this was the first week you've really seen them in sync. I don't necessarily I think it's just kind of the way games have shaped out. It's like the play calls, who knows about what the coverages have been, and it's tough, but like they made it a point to get them both the balls this week. And I love that. I mean, you gotta like that. That's how it should be every week. But I don't necessarily think it's them even really being out of sync. I think it's just kind of the way that the cookies crumbled, as Kyle likes to say. And it's unfortunate what happened with Terry, but he'll be fine. It's Terry, and you just got to feel decent about that part at least, you know.
Everybody know that.
But those
Goddamn,
drops
bro.
were heartbreaking, though, you know, because it was like Terry, you're so scary. It's spooky season. What are you doing?
Homework, make it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that they're out of sync, Colonel, because like Reed had so excellently described it. What I think is because it's very hard to play, obviously, quarterback in the NFL, right? And Sam is trying to learn to go through his progressions in a timely manner. He's also trying to be able to orchestrate in the pocket behind this offensive line that has been having issues up until this point. I don't think it's them being out of sync. I think it's more so of the offense just being out of rhythm because of what is happening up front and them trying to stop the fires that are currently in their face. So I'm not going to say it's like them being out of sync. I just think it's all to like I'm not going to say it's just the quarterback and the two wide receivers that are out of sync. I think it's just everyone all together, like Reed had kind of talked about. No reason to beat a dead horse even more.
Yeah, like you said, and I mean, at the end of the day, like you said, Terry's built up enough credibility with this team and throughout his career with this team that, yeah, it sucks. Those are the two drops, and again, it came at the most inopportune times. But he's a guy that strikes me as he's going to bounce back next week and go like 8 for like 100 plus yards, 8 catches, 100 plus yards, or something like that, a touchdown. So not worried about that. And like you said, they were in sync pretty much throughout the whole game, and it was just the way that he goes. And I mean, Jonathan Allen said it on the Junkies this morning. And was talking about the defense, but just the team as a whole. Good teams find a way to win at the end of the game, and bad teams find a way to either not win or lose. And right now, we're playing like a bad team, like not like I would say like overall we're playing as a bad team. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like 1 week it's the
I
defense
understand.
playing
You're
good.
absolutely
Yeah.
right, dude.
1 week it's the defense playing good. The next week it's the offense. The next week
Right.
the offense plays bad, the defense plays good, or vice versa, or whatever. So, I mean, maybe once throughout the 17 weeks or 18 weeks of the season, we'll get a game where offense and defense play one whole consistent game. But as of right now, like I said, it's just a difference of good teams and bad teams, and the good teams find a way to win it. The bad teams or find a way to catch that pass, get the first down, keep the chains moving. The bad ones, they drop it, game over. So it is what it is.
It is what it is, man. You're absolutely right. Now, this next fan question is submitted by Tony Franchise on Twitter. Thank you, Tony. His question is, I'm not too keen on this front office making roster decisions. However, do you think Rivera is making the call on the trade rumors or maybe someone else behind the scenes we don't know about?
I'm pretty sure it's you can't have someone behind the scenes because that'd be like tampering or some ridiculous NFL rule that we'll probably get caught and fined for. But um, if you want to say behind the scenes, as far as like at the top, then yes, I do think that if there was any trade was to happen, it wouldn't be because Ron Rivera picked the phone up and he was wheeling and dealing, and Martin Mayhew or the Martys are wheeling and dealing at the trade deadline. I think it would be Josh Harris coming in or Magic Johnson, whoever it may be, coming down into their offices being like, hey, what offers do we have on the table? I've been obviously like they've been talking to people behind the scenes. Like obviously that's how it goes, like talking to agents and whatnot. So I'm sure he has some people advising him like, hey, you can get this trade value. Like they just hired the analytics guy. I'm sure he's crunching the numbers on trades and the value of trading this guy as it pertains to that guy, draft pick value, blah blah blah. So I would say that yeah, if anything was to happen, it would be because the ownership happened. But yeah, obviously the one on the table is Montez Sweat. So if anything was going to happen, I would say that Montez Sweat gets dealt. And honestly, if it was to happen, I wouldn't be that mad at it because I would assume that if he goes to Atlanta, he's going to sign a long term deal there when he's getting traded there. So a second round pick for Montez. I mean, I would love to sign Montez. Yeah, allegedly, I would love to sign Montez long term. But if it comes down to that, I would definitely take a second round pick for Montez.
And that was a good answer. But now we are joined by our next guest, Mr. Jeff Miles, aka Hefe from the Discord chat. What's up, Jeff? How you doing, man?
You
I'm good, doing good. How y'all fellas doing?
We're doing all right. We're answering some fan
chilling.
questions. This one was submitted by Tony Franchise on Twitter. You just heard Hall answer it. But his question was, Tony's is, I'm not too keen on this front office making roster decisions. However, do you think Rivera is making the call on the trade rumors or maybe someone else behind the scenes we don't know about?
Phew, that's a tough one. It's kind of like, who do you think is in charge, right?
Right.
I know Ron was given the full reins after, when he came over here, but now that the new people are over here, I don't. Oof, if I'm Josh Harris, I'm having a say. And I understand people don't want that, but with how the team has been doing, and this is the first year, you kind of have to, you got to come in looking good. So, um, if I'm Josh Harris, I have a say. I don't know.
You're absolutely
This
right.
is $6 billion investment. I'm saying something.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Is if anything, this is somebody behind the scenes, like you said, Tony, that's probably going to make these calls, and whatever they decide is best, then I'm all for it. I'm with it. I would love to keep the guys here, but I understand this is a business, and not everybody on this team is going to be here when everything is all said and done. That being said, I'm I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves because we don't know what this team generally wants to do, meaning in the top brass with Harris and company. I'm not going to sit here and say that they're not telling them what to do, but at this point, I think it's safe to say that, Rivera was very happy when Harris took over and because he was saying we're now in a good position, and everything like that. And so it'd be hard for me to see that Rivera is acting in a pissed off manner or anything like that because he was very welcoming to when Harris got here. Reed, do you think that Rivera is the one making these trade rumors, or do you think there's someone else behind the scenes?
Oof. I don't know. I think that's a pretty tough one. I don't like to think that Rivera would be saying that. At the same time, I do think he's probably just trying to do what he can to make some moves and hopefully put this team in the best position going forward. But yeah, I don't. It's got to be front off. But see, it's tough. I don't know because it doesn't really make sense for anybody to do it at this point. So I don't know. I don't have an opinion on it, but what I do have an opinion on is El Jefe was the goat in the group chat yesterday, dude. When or in the
Bro,
Discord, Andrew Wiley, you were making me laugh about.
bro, I was fuming,
I
fuming.
know
Wait. Before I get into that, I just want to say, like, this ambiance that you got going on here.
it's spooky, isn't it? It's super spooky. It's
It was
Halloween.
Spooky
the
for his
candles
wife.
lit. I didn't. Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know,
That's
but yeah, I was fuming after that, man. He actually did pretty well the entire game, and I was like, all right, maybe maybe he'll have a full game without any mistakes, and sure enough, just lays a fucking egg. Oh, can I say that? My bad.
No, you're
Lays a
good,
effing
man.
egg.
So the one
Okay.
thing about this podcast is nobody is muffled truly, but the point is that we don't want everybody cussing on every sentence, right? If it happens every once
Gotcha.
again, it is what it is, but it just can't be a constant all the time thing like Reed on the weekends whenever he's behind the scenes or behind the curtain with his video camera. But this next question that we have, Hefe, this is from Wales Commanders Alid, our boy who went over to New York from the UK, from Wales, went and saw them in New York. His question is, Hefe, looking at the two McLaurin plays towards the end, would you class them as bad throws or was it bad catches?
Whew. So they weren't the best throws, but Terry McLaurin, if you ask him, I think they said this yesterday on TV. You ask him, he's going to catch those 9 out of 10 times. So if he's going to hold himself to that standard, I'm going to hold him to that standard. And those are catchable balls. But at the same time, I've been seeing on Twitter people writing McLaurin off and saying, "Oh man, maybe he should be traded." Everybody chill out. Like he is. I think he saved
the
us out
one
of
time
plenty of
Terry's
games.
messed up.
Exactly.
Right.
Like I'm not blaming that L on Terry because of those two catches. Yes, he should have caught them, but all right, Jahan should have caught plenty of balls this past season.
Right.
McLaurin has saved our butts plenty of times. He gets a pass.
They're ready to trade Jahan Dotson leading up to this week.
Right.
And everyone's like, I hate him. Wow, he's such a waste of a draft pick.
I didn't know Terry was on the field for that botched Devontae Smith touchdown. I didn't know he was on the field. He was the reason for that. You know what I'm saying? For me personally, Alid, I put that fault on the wide receiver, but at the same time, like Sam had a great game. I don't want to take that away from him. He was 39 to 52, threw 75%, had a complete percentage of 75% with 397 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception, had a quarterback rating of above 14. But it's those sort of nuanced, sort of detailed plays where you're not setting your feet, you're not getting enough power into it just because you're trying to work yourself in the pocket. But that's why football is a game of inches, right? And that's why it's good to have those proper mechanics in those crucial situations so it doesn't come up to that chance. You don't want to leave it up to that chance that Terry might not catch. Yes, we all have full confidence in Terry, but he's human. Sometimes these things happen, and so you as a quarterback just have to do your best possible job in order to make it easy on Terry in those situations. But if you would ask Terry, Terry would say it's on him. If you ask Sam, Sam would say it's on him. But they fall together behind the shield of the team and say they just need to do better. And I agree. But the thing is, they scored 31 points. They shouldn't be beating up on themselves too bad. What do you think, Reed? Your microphone's not working. What do you think, Hall?
Yeah, I think it's both. I think it was could have been better throws, but also, I mean, you ask anybody going back to like playing backyard football, like you already know, like the rule is it touches your hands, you're supposed to catch it if you're playing receiver.
Yep.
So at the end of the day, like you said, it could be a better throws on both of those, yes, but at the same time, Terry caught it, or it hit his hands both times, and like you said, you asked Terry, he should have caught that, and as a fan base, we expect Terry to catch it, just like he expects himself to catch it. So at the end of the day, like you said, you can't catch them all. Everyone's going to have a drop here or there. And like I said, Terry's the type of guy that he'll bounce back, have 8 catches for 100-plus yards and a touchdown against the Patriots this upcoming week, hopefully. So not worried about it. It is what it is. And, yeah.
I'm with you.
Hopefully they get in that
people
situation
are
again.
criticizing Sam.
Yeah, if they get in that situation again, I have full faith that Terry will come through and make that catch.
Yeah.
So
The thing that made it tough too is it was back to back because it was like, dude, like you think like with Terry, with as good as he's been, it's like, all right, he dropped that one. That's very uncharacteristic. So we go back to him, he's gonna catch it for sure. And then he did it again. It was just like, God damn it, this is one of those games. But nothing you can do about it. Like I said, you can't really fault Terry. It happens. But yes, he should have caught it. It hit him in the hands. That's the rule. And when you're an elite level receiver, but everybody's got drops, so it happens.
What were you saying,
But
Jeff?
I also want to say that this is probably, correct me if I'm wrong, that was probably the best quarterback performance we've seen in a couple years.
Since Kirk, for sure, I would imagine.
Yeah, that specific game was the best we've seen in years.
Yeah.
Granted, he had that one mistake. It was a bad one. It was a costly one. But I think it's so hard to tell people to relax when they have valid points. They have valid reasons to be upset. They're tired of losing. But for Sam, Sam hasn't been a Commanders fan for 30 years.
Right.
Sam has, Sam has been a Commanders fan for 2 years, and this is his first 8 games, first 9 games, and he does the best we've seen in 7 years.
Yeah.
This game, he's all right. Last game,
right,
he needed to work on.
Yeah, Sam's not too bad for a Cowboys fan. I will say that.
Another thing with Sam, a lot of people want to point to the interceptions. They're like, he needs to cut down on this, which is true. Most young quarterbacks do. But what was it? 4 of them? 5 of them came in one game?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is that what it was? Yeah.
I mean, out of anything, I would say the sacks are probably what he needs to work
on.
More.
Yeah, exactly.
And the person he needs to go to is Reed. Reed has all of them that you can want. You don't need to give out anymore. Now,
you're the king of sacks.
On Twitter, no comeback, no comeback. On Twitter, I had asked everybody. Let's do this exercise again. We did this last week after the loss to the Giants. I said, give me one positive takeaway that I could say on the pod. Andy Burrows said the O-line played one hell of a game. Yes, they did. Douglas Wonders commented a gif of Sam Howell flexing. I think we all agree on that. That was probably one of the best performances we've seen at the quarterback here in a long time. Red Hawk said we don't have to play them again this season, meaning the Eagles. I hope we do see them again in the playoffs, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm not writing the ship off. I still want to see this football team win. And Richard Cameron said Jamison Crowder has still got some skills. The guy has made plays in recent weeks. Has he not? I mean, my goodness, he really showcased himself yesterday. Kind of thinking that where was Diami Brown yesterday, and Jamison Crowder just really came in and took everything by the horn, so to speak. Thad the Third said Sam was balling, Dotson got active and got his confidence back, and Nelford said Sam Howell. I agree with all you boys, except for Red Hawks. I would like to see I'm not scared of the Eagles. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, especially dude, remember the first time we played them when Sam stone cold marched us down the field easily to tie the game at the end of the game?
Yeah.
Sam's got the Eagles. Come on, dog.
Did y'all talk about? Have we talked about the defense yet, or are we just?
Yeah, we have. I think somebody's got to have a question in here regarding the defense. What were you going to say, Jeff?
I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand. I don't get how you can watch AJ Brown demolish somebody for a full game and then come back and let him do it for another 2 quarters and then still not make a decision to switch things up and then do it for another 2. I don't get it. I don't like. I like Forbes. I do, but that's clear. He's not there yet, and that's clear. That is very clear. Why not let him, sit in the back for a little bit? Because past 2 weeks that he wasn't playing that much, we held defenses to 14 to 16 points. Right?
You're right.
Yeah. Why are we putting in our worst cornerback, which stats wise he is, maybe not talent wise, maybe not potential wise, but stat wise he is on the best wide receiver we've seen.
Especially in those situations, because wasn't he on him twice or something? Both times it was a touchdown and a big first down.
Yeah,
something like that. It was why even put the kid in that line of fire?
Because in their defense, it wasn't like Emmanuel Forbes played a lot. He only had 5 snaps. But the unfortunate part is 2 of those snaps were on AJ Brown. He didn't have much help, and he got kind of taken advantage of. I said this on the radio earlier, Hefe. I don't know what to do here because you only give him 5 snaps, and you give 2 snaps to him against AJ Brown. And at what point, to your point, at what point is Emmanuel Forbes going to make a play on the ball? And obviously give a lot of credit to AJ Brown for being able to muscle those. He did it on Kendall Fuller. He did it on Benjamin St. Juste. We've known that by now. He's done it to everybody
all year,
right? And so it's hard to get on Emmanuel or Jack Del Rio because it's what do you do? Like, do you do punt
If I'm
return
Kendall
on them?
Fuller, if I'm Kendall Fuller, as soon as I see that, no, you move. I got it.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I don't care what Jack Del
Shit,
Rio
Kendall
said.
Kendall might be saying, "Nah,
Yeah,
I'm
no.
good, dude. I'm good."
St. Juice should have been like, yeah, no, I'm a big old boy. Granted, I'm Canadian. I'm very nice, but I'll go up against that aggressive ball hawk.
Yeah, BSJ didn't have a
If
great time against
a
him either.
team captain, which Kendall Fuller team captain?
Should be. I would imagine so.
Not sure.
I think so. As team captain, if you
Either way, he's
see
a
that
leader.
and you know that this matchup is going to hurt your team, I understand schemes and I understand all of that. I
What do
understand
you-
all of that.
Yeah.
But
At the end of the day, I feel like that falls on Ron Rivera because at the end of the day, Eric Bieniemy runs the offense, Jack Del Rio runs the defense.
Mhm.
Ron Rivera's job during the games is to manage timeouts, the challenge plays, and just kind of manage the clock throughout the game. If you see
The last
AJ
person
Brown
you want
lined up
doing
on the
that.
outside, you see Emmanuel Forbes out there. I'm looking at the referee calling timeout right then and there and be like, nope, I'm not even letting that play happen. So,
Yep.
I mean, yes, you can put it on Jack Del Rio and the scheme and why are you setting up the young man to fail pretty much type thing. But you can also call a timeout. You have 3 of them. Use one.
What do you think Emmanuel Forbes is getting AJ Brown for Father's Day this year?
Oh, come on, man.
Mhm.
Come on,
What?
man. No, I will say this. Like, it would really.
I would say a blanket, but I don't think he could cover
Honestly,
him.
what would
enough.
kill if I was a player, if I was in Emmanuel Forbes' shoes, what would really kill my confidence is if my coaching staff called a timeout on me if I was lined up on AJ Brown. Like at some point as a man, you're like,
You don't gotta tell him that's why you call the timeout. You tell him.
No, but he
Tell
knows.
him, no.
He
You
knows.
make something up on them. You make
I guess-
something up on the reason why you called a timeout.
No, but
you don't
he
call
knows.
a
You're
timeout
also
like, oh no,
praying.
switch up the defense, like blah blah. Like no, you make up some other reason on
I
like
guess you're
You know
also
what I'm saying?
praying that he actually makes a play on the ball
Right.
and gets some.
because
some
you know
form
what
of
else? You know what else is
confidence
going to kill his
back.
confidence? Him getting in for 5 snaps and then pretty much
Yeah.
half the snaps you play,
Well,
you
that's
get abused
the-
on
that's
them.
the
You know what I'm
worst
saying?
case.
Like
That's the-
5
but
games
that's
that
the
he was
worst-
getting his butt
Yeah.
whooped.
Yeah, but that's the thing is that's the crazy part is that's why they limited it to only 5 snaps and said, okay, 2 snaps on you, go to AJ Brown. Let's see how you've progressed so far. Obviously not so much. But that being said, let's get into our fan questions, rapid fire, wrap up this episode. This question submitted by Tim Towner in the Discord chat, Jeff Miles. This question is, rumors that now Atlanta is in on Sweat for a 3rd-round pick. If you were a GM, would you consider getting teams to sweeten the pot with higher picks, but in 2025 or 26?
If I'm a GM, I get it, the long run, but I'm not worried about 25, 26. Like if it's 3rd round, I'm not talking about next year. I'm talking about this year. 2nd round, what Leo get? He got
Second and a fifth.
second and
this
fifth.
year and a 5th in 2025.
Yeah. I think if I'd be willing to take like a 2nd this year and then maybe a 6th next year. But
Yeah.
I need something guaranteed this year. Something guaranteed this year for Sweat because he's clearly if you're asking for him, you need him.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. For me, it's kind of a different story because I think I need context in order to achieve an answer here. Because what you're saying is, would you consider teams to sweeten the pot with higher picks in 2025 or 26? Saying bypassing the 2024 draft, right, and looking ahead. Well, my big question is they have $90 million in cap space projected next season. They got a bunch of players that need to be re-signed or not. So are you going to be using a lot of that money to retain our guys and to bring in free agency guys? Because if you're doing that, you don't need to stockpile a lot of draft picks because you're going to be doing the same thing we're doing now with Emmanuel Forbes and not playing your draft picks because you paid people to come in and play those spots. And so that's where the context for me lies here, Tim. What is your projection for the future of this organization? Do you want to retain guys first and foremost, then supplement with good free agency picks, maybe 1 or 2, rather than grabbing the bargain bin sort of issues with Nick Gates and others? Or do you want to go down the draft route, And I think that the context there is very, very important. But if for me, straight up in a box, I would say I need the immediate help because there's a lot of I think there's a lot of holes in this team that could really use the talent evaluation. The only thing that scares me is that 2nd-round pick. It just seems like we can't get it right. What do you think, Reed?
Yeah. Also, I mean, so much changes in a year. I mean, you see like teams like the Cardinals. One season they draft Josh, and they're like, oh, Josh Rosen, you suck. We're on Kyler Murray. So it's so much can change. I'd just be worried about this year.
And now they're already saying about Kyler Murray that Kyler Murray sucks.
Right.
Yeah, now this next question in Discord, this is from Andy Lockhart, Mr. Irrelevant. Oi! Thank you, Andy.
Oi.
He said, why does Reese look worse every day than he does at Halloween? Great
Who's
question.
Reese, first of all?
Reed.
Said Reed. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Andy, coming from you, I'll take that. I'll say okay. I'll say okay. 'Cause
Now
you're
this
a
next
gorgeous
question-
man, and I love you.
Hey, Hefe, this is from our boy Arch Deluxe. Did you have fun watching the game? The results aren't what we wanted, but I enjoyed the game, especially the performances by Sam, Jahan, and B-Rob.
I'll be honest, I have not had a Washington game experience that I don't have a heart attack in. That like my heart, like I catch my heart racing.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, the thrills are good. You know, the touchdowns look amazing. But I think Reed said this on the last episode, whenever he said it. Why can't we just blow teams out? You know, we're up 14-3. Why can't we just put the pedal to the metal and keep going? You know, that's what great teams do. That's what Super Bowl contenders do. Playoff teams do, and we're clearly not that. But did I enjoy it? I mean, it was nice to know that we can compete. That was nice.
Yeah.
But the experience overall, my heart was racing too fast for me to compare it. So.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun watching the game. There was a lot of exciting moments, the Cam Curl strip, and then the tush push fumble, which is absolutely beautiful. Like, because we had Tim Towner ask us a couple weeks ago, how do you stop the tush push, right? And I talked about like putting that stomp at the ground, and it's just funny that against us, everyone's been complaining about it and everything, and then we kind of figured it out by saying you got to make sure that he butt fumble. You know what I'm saying? And that's exactly what happened. So it's really cool. That being said,
Not to mention we stopped it before.
I had a lot of fun watching the game, but I think the depressing part about the game was when it was over, losing it 38-31, and knowing that even though you give it your all, even though that you try to do everything freaking possible to win these games, you claw yourself back and you still fall short. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And it was awesome to see them go 7 of 12 on third down. It was awesome to see them get the turnovers in the red zone and get a couple sacks.
And watching Sam Howell, dude.
But just not being able to get over the top was very, very depressing, which took away the fun that was experienced, I think is the best way to put it.
Yeah, majority of the time, like 99% of the time, I always have fun watching the game just because, I always have fun watching my team play. It's always a good time. But
just not on Thursday
like you
night
said,
versus Chicago. Jeez.
Yeah, just that's the 1% of the times when I don't have fun, like the Chicago games or the game like against the Giants, where it's just one of those almost unbearable games to watch because it's just literally no excitement, nothing going on. But yeah, for the most part, I always enjoy watching the game. I always have a good time watching the game because I just love watching this team play. Even though they making me want to pull a little bit of hair left I have out of my head majority of the time. It's always a good time, either way.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate, guys. Anybody that's still watching this is a freaking champion because it is really hard and difficult to be able to do this, with after the couple losses. Everyone knows it, but the fact is you guys still watching it, it really shows how awesome you are. Jeff, I know you got to get out of here. You have a prior engagement to get to, brother. I appreciate you, as always, man. I know that you are a big fan of this team. You do a lot of artwork for the football team. You can go check them out at FedEx Field. I know some of your artwork is up on the ramps and everything like that. Before you get out of here, would you like to plug your social media handle, just in case anybody watching hasn't followed you yet would like to, brother?
For sure. You can follow me on Instagram at hefe.miles. That's JEFE.miles. Like Kyle said, I have some pieces at the stadium, a nice mural.
So good.
I got a new one coming up, hopefully soon. But who is it? Antonio Gibson and Chase Young
and Jack Del Rio.
If he doesn't get traded, that banner will be up with the rest of them for the rest of the year. So
that would be awkward.
Yeah, go through FedEx. Yeah, that would be awkward. But yeah, thank you. Give me a follow. Appreciate y'all. And hey, if we've lasted this long, we could last a little bit longer, right?
Yeah,
you're absolutely right. That's the right mindset to go on, brother. My man. Have a good night, brother.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, Jeff. Talk again next time, brother. All right, everybody. We just spoke with the man, Mr. Hefe. Jeff Miles. Sorry.
Jeff's the best.
That's his nickname in the Discord. I don't know which one to call him, so I'm just calling him Hefe, okay? It is what it is. I don't care. Now, to wrap up this episode, we have a last fan question. This one was submitted by Tim Towner. I think Minnesota comes calling for Brissett now that Cousins is done for the year. And if so, what would you ask for?
I would say like a fourth or a fifth, maybe, something like that. Just because, obviously, I mean, I know there was a rumor out there, maybe a report out there that they were they were talking with New Orleans about Jameis Winston. So, yeah, I mean, if the Winston trade doesn't come through for Minnesota, then if they want to trade for Brissett, then I would definitely no less than a fourth or a fifth. Anything less than that, I would just hang the phone up on him and be like, nope, I'm good.
Yeah, there's anybody that is a guarantee that Minnesota, if they really needed a placeholder to come in and do the work for him this season while Kirk is out, I would say right now it is Jacoby Brissett. I don't think that it is. I don't think it's Jameis. Look, I respect Jameis a heck of a whole lot. I just think that Jacoby Brissett would do exactly what they want. And I will tell you right now that if Minnesota did call me, if I was the GM, I would immediately say nope, and just hang. It doesn't even matter what they say. Nope. Let me know in about 15 minutes if you want to up your offer a little bit, because Jacoby has a lot of validity here, because if something does go wrong to Sam or anything like that, I would force the pressure even more, Tim. Just keep going and going up, because quarterbacks are really a necessary commodity, and it's not usually something that we have a plethora of. And so I don't want to get into the business of shipping them away just for fifth or sixth rounders that really aren't going to benefit you in the time being when something could happen to Sam. So I'd keep hanging up, and I would try to get north of 3. Your microphone is out. Thank goodness.
I would say, give me Justin Jefferson.
That's a good one. Honestly, the Christian Darrisaw one might not be a bad question to ask. No disrespect to Charles Leno. I thought he had a good game.
Like
he didn't give you any reason to crap on him or anything like that. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Everybody know that. Goddamn, boy. All right, everybody. That's going to wrap us up for this episode. I appreciate you guys for sticking with us. Thank you for Reed for showing up for us, sir. I really do appreciate it. Make sure to pay you on time this time.
Yeah, thank you. That's all that's important to me right now, dude. I don't give a fuck about this team.
Any last minute statements you want to make about the game or anything like that?
No, I mean, obviously it's depressing as hell. But the one thing is they did play well. It's going to be interesting if there is a fire sale, who's going, who's not. But it's all going to be okay one day. You just got to keep telling yourself that. At least old Snyder boy's gone. That's what I keep telling myself. But yeah, I don't know. When you're outside tomorrow, be careful of all the goblins and ghouls and the wolfmans and vampires and other ghosts, because it's All Hallows Eve and the moon was very close to being full. I had to lock my doors and get chained to the bed because I did not want to attack my family.
Are you guys going trick-or-treating tomorrow?
Yeah.
Are you dressing up?
No, not tomorrow. I don't think so. I don't know. If so, I'm just gonna throw in some random. I tried to find a costume before this, but I couldn't find my pirate costume. I was gonna be you, Kyle, and be a butt pirate.
I was gonna say the same exact thing. Paul, are you guys celebrating tomorrow? Are you dressing up or anything?
Yeah, I think Taco Mike might make another appearance again.
You guys still have that taco costume, huh?
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah, we're going to
it.
I'm going to my parents' house, going to my neighborhood where I used to go trick or treating, so the kids can go there. Cash is Buzz Lightyear. My wife is Lil Bo Peep. I'm gonna be Woody, and then Corey is like a little sheep of Lil Bo Peep. And so we got a little theme going on there. So we're gonna go door to door tomorrow. So get ready for the embarrassing pictures. But before we get out of here, Halloween special. What's the best Halloween candy? I'm talking about, I'm not saying when you're going door to door that you're happy to get. I'm talking about afterwards, the next day or so, you dump all your pillow candy out. It's all over the bed. Which one are you sized to eat first, Reed?
Dude, so first of all, I'm a king size guy, but not everybody gives those out. So anything king size is clutch. But I'm going to say it, just Reese's, dude. Reese's Cups, it's the go-to. It's the best candy that there is right now. So, and it always has been. So not just right now.
Forever. Yeah, you're right. And honestly, my mind was blown when I first discovered the Fast Break. Like the Reese's.
Fast Break's good.
Really, really good.
Remember Snickers Crunchers back in the day? Those
Oh,
were good,
yeah.
but they're not around anymore. So.
I think Snickers, Reese's, you can't go wrong with. But honestly,
Don't bring-
dude, I get sized up for Babe Ruth. They're not around as much anymore, but Babe Ruths are so good, man.
Yeah, they are. They're
Next level candy that's out there now is a Snickers with peanut butter. It'll blow your mind.
Ooh.
But I'm with you guys. My favorite candy has always been and will always be Reese's. So I get sized for Reese's.
Yeah. And then when you're straying from the chocolate for a little bit, you know what else is good? And it's look, I'm not somebody that eats these regularly, but when they're in there, I'm gonna eat a few nerds. I'm gonna eat a few Kyles. I'm gonna punish a box of nerds.
I
You
do
know,
like
they're
nerds.
always in
Nerds are
there.
pretty fire.
You know what's really
Yeah.
weird is that Twizzlers, when Twizzlers come in the group big packaging, they taste great and amazing. But the
Yeah,
single,
ones
they,
suck.
they taste so different.
It's weird. Yeah.
Very weird.
Why is that? I'm gonna steal so many kids' candy tomorrow night.
I know,
I'm
dude.
gonna,
So
I'm
I'm not gonna lie
gonna
to
be
you.
Ice and Jay from Hocus Pocus. I'm
We
gonna say
did-
Hollywood.
We went to
Well,
trunk
what
or
are you
treat.
supposed to be? A
We
new
went to-
kid on the block?
We went to
Yeah,
trunk or treat
crush
on
these little
Saturday at
kids.
our church, and so it was the first time that Cash got to go trick or treating, and I was holding his hand the
Yeah.
whole time. And I was talking to Catherine today, and she was like, Cash did a really good job, and I was like, he did a good job. I was like, we did a good job. I was more invested than he was because I was
Yeah,
like,
hell
I know
yeah,
he's
dude.
not eating all that.
Yeah.
So I was like,
And-
make sure you put 2 more.
That's exactly what I'm doing to
Yep.
James this year. I'm saying, James, you're not eating any of this. Literally nothing.
Oh, I'm giving him some. He was able to eat
I
them.
don't care.
3 Musketeers, yes. So I'll give him the 3 Musketeers and stuff, but the
James is-
Reese's and stuff, I'm gonna.
James is a
the boys got to
bad
learn
boy.
about taxes. Okay, it's the best time to be able
Yeah.
to teach them.
That's true. Yeah, for sure. And you kind of are the definition of America.
I didn't know if something weird is coming after that.
No,
All right,
that's a
everybody.
compliment.
I was waiting for
That's
it.
going to wrap us up for this episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you made it this far, you are a freaking champion. I can't thank you guys enough. It's a hard road. We're 3-5 right now, but the future's bright, man. Trust me. You just gotta have faith, man. Just like Reed's boy George Michael, you gotta have faith. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right, everybody.
More like the songbird of our generation, Fred Durst, when he covered that song. Remember when Limp Bizkit redid that song? That's so sick.
No, you're such a loser. All right, everybody. We'll see you later. I'm Kyle.
I'm Hall.
Remember when
And-
Fred Durst made a remix?
Fred Durst is the Bob Dylan of our generation, dude. He did it all for the nookie. So you can take that cookie and stick it up your yeah.
All right,
Great
everybody.
lyrics.
That's going to wrap us to this episode. We'll see you guys on Thursday. Have a great, safe week. See you then. Washington football. Woo! What's up, everyone? This is Kyle from the Burgundy Zone. We are releasing our own merch to support the show. If you want to rock the Burgundy Zone logo or you want to see Reed's face on your shirt, we got it. We're starting with t-shirts, hoodies, and zip-up. So if you're a fan of the show, make sure you snag one before they are gone. Check out the link in our bio on Instagram, or you can find the link in the description of the video. Thanks again for all your support. Until next time.